The following is a production of TeamBoydTV.com.
Sierra Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta, Shield.
Here we go, turn it up, let it start. From block to block, we snatching hearts and jacking marks. And the punk police can't fade me a minute. We can have this something cheap. But right now I got my mind set up. Looking down the bottle of a gun, get up. Till the time I let the baby back back. To my brothers on the block, better stay strapped. And he said no substitutes. I bring truth to the youth, tell you from the old school. Oh no, I won't turn the other cheek. Case you can't see us when we run the other week. Now we got him in the smash, blast. How long will it last? Till the road get more cash. Until then, raise up. Till the young black males blaze up. Like some mess, don't stress. Test. I'm giving, but we thankful that you're living blessed. Much love to my brothers in the pen. See you when I free you, if not when they shut me in. Once again, this is all I'll strap. Keep your hands in the gap. Now your boys watch your back. In the alleys, I'm telling them I'm telling. Got mess with the best and the best with you. Scream if you feel it. See it clearly. You're too near me. I'll let you hear me. I'll let you hear me. I'll let you hear me.
Sierra Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta, Shield.
What's going on, everybody? What is happening? It is your boy, Big Q, Team Boy TV Turbo, and this is the first edition of our brand new podcast called The Shield. You know, NFL Shield is going to be cool, man. I absolutely think this is going to be an awesome podcast. This is going to be kind of like Team Boy TV Pink that Bernie B does on the Team Boy TV Turbo channel. Sort of, kind of, except, you know, it'll be me and it'll be a podcast instead of a video and that kind of thing. Basically what it is that this podcast will be dealing with a lot of the NFL issues, you know, especially the ones that are kind of like that's around the NFL. Not so much the on the field stuff. We cover that on other shows that we do on the channel. This one is more about the issues that happen around the NFL. You know, coaches, the politics, things that surround the shield of the NFL, and I think it's going to be fun. I think this is going to be a really, really cool outlet for me to be able to cover things that we normally don't get to cover on the other broadcasts that we do. So this one should be fun. Let me give a big shout out to my boys, man. I want to give a shout out to my homeboys from the Team Boy TV live crew, JB and Glass. Those are my homies, man. We got our third divisional breakdown for 2014 coming up tomorrow night, this Wednesday at 7:35 p.m. on Team Boy TV Turbo YouTube channel and also on TeamBoydTV.com. So you know what? I'm excited about that. We've been having a lot of fun doing that kind of stuff. We're getting ourselves ready for this year's NFL campaign. Everybody's excited. Everybody is kind of getting themselves ready. JB has already put out one episode of the Ravens War Machine podcast. Check it out on Spreaker, that kind of thing. We're also awaiting the debut episode of Glass's Mile High Stampede, produced by Get With It Sports. So we're waiting on that to come out too. So, you know, everything is coming together really, really nicely. And so, you know, we also had a lot of fun doing the Black and Blue podcast, which is my Carolina Panthers podcast that I also do here on Spreaker and on YouTube or at Team Boy TV Turbo. You know, so we are working, we getting it in, and we're trying to bring you guys the absolute best coverage of the NFL that we possibly can. And, you know, we're having a lot of fun doing it. On today's episode, though, on our debut episode of The Shield, I got a couple topics that I want us to dive into, and we're going to kind of discuss and break down real quick. One of the main ones that I want to do, the first one I want to get into is probably going to be the situation that's going on at Fox Sports with the demotion of one Pam Oliver to make way for the new perky Erin Andrews. So, you know, it is a subject that, you know, me and you know, and another one of my team members, Vernie B, we've been talking about for the last couple of days or whatever. It's a pretty big deal to some people, and, you know, NFL people, you know, people who really, really get the NFL, they understand that this is a pretty big deal. You know, because everybody trying to make light of it. Okay, you know, it's just a woman, you know, and then there's a lot of stuff that was said about Pam Oliver. We're going to get into that. That's going to be one of the first things that we cover. And then we're also going to talk about this newly developing story between Tony Dungy and Michael Sam. You know, Tony Dungy of NBC Sports, you know, used to be the former coach of the Indianapolis Colts, that kind of thing. And So, some stuff came out, and, he said some things, which we will cover in depth, in a few minutes and everything. So one of the first things we want to do, so I told you, this show's going to be action packed. We're going to get it in on this show. This is how we're going to do it. But we're going to go ahead and give a little bit of time to our sponsor real quick. You guys want to check out my sponsors. They will be, you can see them all at TeamBoydTV.com. You can see all the stuff from Domain.com and Stitcher Radio and all that cool stuff. But yeah, first we're going to take a visit to our sponsor at Domain.com. And when we come back, we will talk about this Pam Oliver, Erin Andrews situation. Team Boyd TV Turbo is sponsored by Domain.com. In today's connected world, it's kind of hard to be heard or to get noticed. That's why an online presence is so vital. If you have a brand to promote, relying on social media just doesn't cut it these days. Although social media is a powerful way to build a following, there is nothing like having your own hosted website. That's where Domain.com comes in. Domain.com offers the very best in web hosting services, and with plans starting at just under $4 a month, it's super affordable as well. And now, because you guys are awesome Team Boyd TV Turbo subscribers, you can get yourself a sweet combo deal if you go to TeamBoydTV.com and click the Domain.com button. Once you click the button, you get redirected to the Domain.com promo page, where once you sign up and use the promo code DOMFREE, that's DOMFREE, you can get yourself a free domain name. That's a free website that you can use to build your audience. And Domain.com web hosting is packed with bonus features too. Check this out. All web hosting plans come with $100 Google AdWords bonus, $50 Yahoo/Bing search marketing credit, $50 in Facebook advertising, a free YellowPages.com listing, and get this, a free toll-free phone number if you live in the U.S. And if you're like me and you know nothing about website design, Domain.com even has the awesomely easy drag-and-drop site builder to get you up and running right away. So what are you waiting for? There's no excuse not to get your online presence rolling right now. Remember, go to TeamBoydTV.com, click the Domain.com button, and use the promo code DOMFREE to get your free domain to use for your website today.
What up, peeps? When you're done listening to our partners at Team Boyd TV and you want to hear more sports talk that is no holds barred, just like at your favorite barbershop, come on over to Get With It Sports, a place where you get your sports with a little swag. Check out our videos on YouTube at Get With It Sports 2, that's the number 2, and watch Glass and Braden as they give you their best in the NFL, NBA, and MLB sports talk. Also, check out our blog page at getwithitsports.wordpress.com. Thanks, and see you there.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Hey, listen, in case you guys haven't really been paying attention to what's been going on in the media, you know what I mean? This is the developing story. Well, I don't know where it is right now, but it's just what ended up happening was this, okay? Pam Oliver came out and was saying something about how she was really looking forward to doing a 20th season on the sidelines for Fox Sports. And but it looked like she's going to be replaced by Erin Andrews. And you guys know Erin Andrews. Y'all know who Erin Andrews is. Erin Andrews is the woman, the sideline reporter who was at the NFC Championship game with Richard Sherman. Right at the end of the game, she comes up to Richard Sherman, and this is where Richard Sherman made that famous little speech or whatever, talking about Michael Crabtree. And, sorry receiver this and that and third. And she was the little shook white girl who was sitting over there in the corner, didn't know what was going on. That was Erin Andrews. And everybody know who Pam Oliver is, the black woman who we've been seeing for the last 19 years on the sidelines, who every single NFL player seems to absolutely love to death. They want to put her on the number 2 team for her last season in the NFL, man. This thing came as a shock to me because I was under the impression that everybody liked that Pam Oliver. I thought everybody liked Pam Oliver, but people who've been paying a lot of attention to what's been going on, they've seen the tweets that she's been getting over the last couple of years, and a lot of the people on YouTube, have been talking about her weave, and and then she got hit upside the head with the football. Was it last year or the year before last? I can't remember. So she's been coming under a lot of fire. You know what I'm saying? So it's been a lot of things talking about, is she getting too old to do the job, and stuff like that. But honestly, she is 53 years old, believe it or not. believe it or not, Pam Oliver is 53 years old. You know what I mean? And she doesn't look like it. I mean, she doesn't look like she's a day over like 35. You know what I'm saying? But she's 53 years old, and they wanted to replace her. And basically, you know, I was reading the stories and stuff, and I didn't quite know what to make of this story because, you know, it really don't seem like that much of a big deal, but it kind of is. You know, us football guys, man, we get used to certain things. You know what I'm saying? And like having Pam Oliver on the sideline is one of the things that we are kind of accustomed to. You know what I mean? We kind of like saying, usually if I'm watching a Fox broadcast of an NFL game, I'm looking for Pam Oliver. That's why I want to see Pam Oliver come up to the player, you know, during halftime or the beginning of the game or the end of the game. You know, I'm not really ready to get used to seeing somebody else do it. You know what I mean? And that kind of thing. So listen, I was looking at this story on ChicagoNow.com, and they had this cool little thing, article called Reading Between the Blurred Lines of Pam Oliver and Her Clearly Expanded Sports Role. And it was a pretty good read, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm just going to kind of highlight some stuff that I saw here that kind of jumped out the page for me. It says, I can't read the minds of Fox Sports executives who came up with the plan to scrap number one sideline reporter Pam Oliver, a respected 53-year-old beautiful African-American, for the younger perky blonde clone of everyone at Fox News, Fox Sports 1, Erin Andrews, who's 36, right? What I can tell you is that Oliver, who looks 15 younger than her age and appears to be the only African-American female sports reporter at Fox, is that the decision to replace her smacks of ageism and racism and plays perfectly into the stereotype of what the so-called libtards and liberal media think about Fox broadcasting in general. Here's what Fox Sports executive said in a statement about demoting Oliver, the most prominent woman sportscaster in the nation, thanks to 16 heavily watched NFL games and, in the odd year, the Super Bowl, which brings billions of advertising revenue to the Fox network annually. We've developed what's clearly an expanded role for Pam and that better meets the needs of Fox Sports and Fox Sports 1 and the big events we cover, while enabling her to work on many of our big NFL games throughout the season. Pam's new role helps us build our journalistic chops and credibility 365 days a year, not just 17. Our decision had absolutely nothing to do with race or age. And this was from Fox News, Fox Sports guy, Pointer on the demotion of Pam Oliver as his number one sideline reporter. Okay. Now, after this, let's just digest that for a minute. So they saying, you know, they trying to position her to be on TV more than just during the football season, and that kind of thing, making it seem like they want to have her do a little bit more and be in a more important role on the network versus just being on at the games and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. Let me ask you guys. I'm saying, you know, you guys can tweet me at TeamBoydTV or whatever the case may be. This is crazy. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how you guys feel about this. Like, I was upset mainly because, you know, it looks to me, this is what it looks like right from the surface. I'm saying, you know, you can call me closed-minded or whatever you want to, but this is what it looks like on the surface. On the surface, it looks like they just want to take the older black chick out of the picture and put in a younger white chick into the picture. You know, and we've seen this all over the place, man. NFL Network is notorious for this. I cannot recall a single solitary black female on their network at all. You know, no road reporter, no in-studio personality, no sideline reporter, nothing like that. Never seen it. They don't have anything like that. I don't understand why the higher ups at the NFL believe that a sport that is dominated by African American players, personnel, you know, and fans, why they think we want to see some blonde chick on the sidelines. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand why they think that that's what we want to see as fans. I don't know whose idea that is. You know what I'm saying? And ain't nothing wrong with having, you know, the little white chick out there. I mean, I'm cool with it and all. It's just that, you know, it would be nice to have a black woman, and especially somebody like Pam Oliver, who knew the game, who was real personable with the players. She had players feeling so comfortable, even when she was talking about things that they really, really were uncomfortable talking about to other people. They felt really, really comfortable talking to Pam about it. You know what I mean? And I just don't understand why they would want to take her out of that role. You know, and it's crazy to me. So when we go back to the story, you know, it says, what can you say about a network that hires a majority of white men and women? Most frequently, They look like Andrews. Interchangeably, the women have blonde hair, long legs, and blue eyes. And that's absolutely true. Just like on NFL Network, it's the same thing. It says the guy, Jason McIntyre of The Big Lead, he said he called out the day crew featuring Sharissa Thompson, Julie Stewart-Binks, Georgie Thompson, and Danielle Trotter, Molly McGrath, etc. Not a brunette among them or a redhead. McIntyre also quotes Rogers Ailes, the president of Fox News Channel, who told this to a journalism class in April of 2013. I pick good people, although some people point out that most of them are blonde. When women get into television, they dye their hair blonde. Now, I'm going to pause for a second because I don't know. I don't really have a whole lot of, friends that are white women that are blonde. I got a few, but not a whole lot. And the blonde stuff never really catered to me. I was never into that kind of thing. You know what I mean? The white women that I do find attractive are usually not blonde, but this is a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, why do you guys think this is true? Do professional white women who go into television and film, do they dye their hair blonde? Is that like the thing? Is that what you're supposed to do? I don't understand it. Going back to the article though, it says they're also Caucasian. There are no African American female reporters on planet Earth who can put together credible sports reports and ask intelligent questions during broadcasts of America's most popular sport. In an interview gone viral with SportsIllustrated.com's Richard Deitch, Oliver described her meeting with bosses and basically talked her way back to playing some role at the network that apparently was determined to retire her one way or another. This is what Pam Oliver said, people. To go from the lead crew to no crew was a little shocking. I said I wanted to do a 20th year on the sidelines. I expressed to them that I was not done and I had something to offer. Again, I think it was predetermined coming in. Not at that meeting, but 2 years ago, it was determined that no matter what I did or did not do, a change would be made for this year. Yeah, man, this is ridiculous to me. Me and Vernon was sitting back and was talking about this and was like, I know that it's kind of hard to kind of fight a juggernaut like the NFL. You know what I mean? I think it is, but the players can make a statement here. The players, when Erin Andrews runs up to them on the sidelines and whatnot, I mean, they could do some simple stuff like, ask them, hey, where's Pam? You know what I'm saying? I was expecting to see Pam, and let the NFL know that they want Pam, and I don't know if the NFL players would even get involved in something like this. I don't know. It's just weird that you would bring in somebody, a woman from Dancing with the Stars who has absolutely nothing, credible as far as NFL broadcasting is concerned, to do with the NFL. Like I don't know. I just think that as far as credibility and an overall journalistic experience, I mean, really, you're going to put Erin Andrews in over Pam Oliver? And she still looks good. She still has the chops. She still has the rapport with the players and the coaches and stuff. And for whatever reason, I think this is a bad move. And I know maybe I'm making such too big of a deal about it. I'm not sure, but I just know that this looks stupid in my opinion. This is like a reach to try to, I don't know, maybe it's about money. Maybe it's about, just trying to glamorize the NFL even more. I don't know. I'm not feeling this at all, And so here is the token female's translation of what Pam was saying. She said, it says, no matter what happens, Pam, we have to promote Erin Andrews to the #1 sideline reporter. We've invested a lot of money to lure her away from ESPN. We're likely paying her more than we're paying you. She'll draw a bigger demographic than you. These probiotic commercials are really working to raise her profile, and she's hot on Dancing with the Stars. That's why she'll be working with Joe Buck now. But for the 18 years that you've helped us put us on the map for premier NFL coverage, after we stole the NFL away from the CBS, you can still do a lot to blunt the criticism that Fox News Sports is the best network of white America and disgruntled African Americans who remember how it was under the Solid South when Democrats were in office. Because this is a very political thing. And it says, plus, we don't want a lawsuit we can't win. Here's the deal, Pam. You help us look like we're not racist, sexist, and prejudiced, and we'll keep your career going as best we can. Even if at 53, you're not the most desirable demographic on planet Earth. Wow. I don't know what else to say about this, man. I really don't. This is crazy to me. I'm I'm personally a little upset about this. I don't know how you guys feel. Y'all got to let me know. Like I said, man, tweet me at TeamBoydTV.com. If you checking us out on Spreaker, leave a comment. If you are checking us out on checking the story out on Stitcher, leave a comment. Thumbs up and like the podcast. If you're checking it out on iTunes, man, please leave a comment on it on iTunes. Like, I see the iTunes comments, through my email. So even if I'm not at my computer, I get to check them out. So yeah, man, this is crazy. I don't know. I just feel like this is a bad move for the NFL. And I don't know. We're going to see how the players going to react to this. We'll really have to see how the players going to react. And we're going to see how women going to react, especially black women. Because black women, they are really, really big fans of the NFL. Now, I don't know if they are bigger fans of the NFL than white women are. It's hard to say. I think, white women, put on the front like they NFL fans, but they don't know as much about the game as black women do. So I don't know if they are, with this move, is that going to alienate the black female demographic from the NFL and make them go back to the NBA? I don't know. It's just like I said, I don't know. It's one of them touchy subjects and stuff. And I don't know. We have to see how the season play out, and that kind of thing, and see what's like next for Pam Oliver, man. I know we're gonna miss her on the sidelines and that kind of stuff. So listen, we're gonna get into our next break, and when we come back, we're gonna jump into this Tony Dungy, Michael Sam situation. You can hear Team Boyd TV's The Shield podcast on Stitcher. Stitcher is radio on demand. Download the free app today. Listen anytime, anywhere. Stitcher is an award-winning free app that lets you listen to all your favorite shows, plus discover from 20,000 news, entertainment, and sports shows. You can create custom playlists of over 20,000 shows to discover. Rate and review Team Boyd TV's The Shield podcast, available on iOS, Android, Nook, and iPad. And it's also in over 4 million car dashboards, on demand and on the go. No downloading, no syncing, no wasted memory. Stream your favorite podcast. Don't have Stitcher? Download it free today at Stitcher.com or in the App Store.
Yo, JB from Team Boyd TV, co-host of Team Boyd TV Live every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we'll be discussing updates, breakdowns, and just about everything NFL. Hosted by yours truly, Big Q, co-hosted by me, JB, and my boy Glass from Get With It Sports. If some reason you missed the show, still haven't had your fill, visit TeamBoydTV.com.
What up, football fans? You want to stay up on the latest of Team Boyd TV happenings? Like us on our Facebook page at Team Boyd TV on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter at Team Boyd TV and at VernieB73. You can also check out our YouTube page at Team Boyd TV Turbo. There's live events, videos, among other things. You can also keep up with the latest happenings, live chats, question and answer sessions on Google Plus at Team Boyd TV. Thank you once again for watching Team Boyd TV.
We just finished the last worst person segment with Tony Dungy, and I think you have some information, or at least an opinion, that might suggest how this is going to go forward in the days to come after his remarks about Michael Sam and how he should be given the chance, except I wouldn't want to coach the team where he's going to get the chance.
I was astonished by Tony's statements. I have a great deal of respect for Tony. I don't understand what he's thinking, and I think over the next 24, 48 hours, he'll figure it out that you can't be morally inconsistent. Doing the right thing is very difficult, and Tony Dungy has always stood for doing the right thing. And doing the right thing sometimes means doing things that you disagree with, but in the long haul, it's consistent with your overall philosophy about fairness and treating everyone properly. So I hope and expect Tony Dungy to recant and restate his opinion.
Yeah, because having worked with him myself for a couple of years at NBC, I thought the high watermark was not his success on the field, but he took a very, very personally risky position relative to Michael Vick. And I know I mocked it a little bit before, but what he was saying was, this man has paid his dues to society. He deserves a second chance. And I don't know if he felt that the whole thing had been washed clean yet, but it was very important for him to, as we both use the phrase independently, do the right thing in the Vick case. It does seem inconsistent.
And the Vick deal is about treating ex-cons properly, letting them re-enter into society. And ex-cons a lot of times in America are treated poorly like homosexual and alternative lifestyle people, And we have to have some consistency there. I'm someone who's very passionate about ex-cons and mass incarceration and allowing people back into society. And in order to be consistent, I have to support Michael Sam and the homosexual community in making sure they're given a fair shake in America. And if that means I have to be uncomfortable, the football team has to be uncomfortable as the head coach, absolutely you stand by that and do the right thing. I don't get where Tony Dungy's coming from.
Yeah, a lot of people did the right thing with their fingers crossed that they were doing the right thing to make it the right thing, not to, string a bunch of cliches together.
Let's dive right into this topic, the first one, talking about Tony Dungy's comments about Michael Sam. So here's what he had to say, talking about Tony Dungy. Says, I wouldn't have taken him, not because I don't believe Michael Sam should have a chance to play, but I wouldn't want to deal with all of it. It's not going to be totally smooth. Things will happen. Of course, the Rams taking Michael Sam in the 7th round of the NFL draft. Do you have a problem with his comments?
I don't have a problem with his comments. You're talking about a coach who's been through different situations. And for a guy who, supported Michael Vick coming out of jail and giving him an opportunity to come with the Philadelphia Eagles, he's seen that distraction, how Andy Reid handled it. Now, will Michael Sam and Jeff Fisher go through some issues in St. Louis? Absolutely, because now this is a national thing. This isn't just something that's stuck in St. Louis. And what he's trying to say basically is the fact that, sometimes you're not trying to bring that onto your football team. It has nothing to do with Michael Sam if he can play the game, because he can play the game. He was co-defensive player of the year in the SEC. He's shown he can play at a high level and change the game as well. The big question is, will he make that football team? And I think for everyone that's looking at it now, they're probably saying, well, he's contradicting himself for supporting Michael Vick and everything that he happened now saying this. I just think for a lot of locker rooms and probably a lot of GMs across the league, they probably felt that same way.
So no problem with the comments?
No problem with the comments. I know Tony pretty well, and I know he didn't mean anything by it.
See, now, this is exactly what I was talking about when we were discussing the Washington Redskins name change debacle. This is exactly what I meant about how people, especially people nowadays, people in this new super sensitive, socially pressured culture. I don't understand it, man. Why? My question before we get into the subject: why is everybody walking on eggshells? I don't understand that. Why is everybody walking on eggshells? So scared to say what's really going on. So scared to say how they really feel about stuff. And I'm gonna tell you why. This is why everybody is scared to say stuff, because of stuff just like this. Mike and Mike on ESPN this morning, and I swear I wanted to get the audio so bad, but it's kind of early, so I couldn't get the audio. But they were blowing up this story, something crazy, and this is what they do, So somebody asked Tony Dungy a simple question. He answered it, right? I didn't see anything wrong with what he said. Just to quote it again. He says this. He says he wouldn't draft him, not because I don't believe Michael Sam should have a chance to play, but I wouldn't want to deal with all of it. And he was saying that it's not going to be totally smooth. Things will happen. And you guys, anybody listening to the sound of my voice right now, y'all know that Tony Dungy is telling the absolute truth. Now, I'm a supporter of Michael Sam. Don't get it twisted. I think it was a really cool thing for him to get drafted. And the fact that, the dude can play football a little bit. We really don't see, can't really tell right now at this level if he's ready to make the NFL leap. We'll see. He still ain't completely made the team yet. He did, sign his little contract and stuff a couple weeks ago and all that. We still ain't. This dude might end up being a really, 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 really good football player. We never know. And he did his due diligence on his part of canceling the whole little Oprah thing that he had going on and drawing all this extra attention to the St. Louis Rams and all of that. So I think he's doing his part, but at the same time, I feel where Tony is coming from. If I was the guy, would I have drafted him? I don't know. I think they got a good value for the guys, and they got him at the bottom round of the draft. He was still a pretty good player. You roll the dice on him and see what's going to happen. As long as you can keep him under control and keep him from running around doing all kind of crazy stuff, drawing all kind of crazy attention to himself. Or to the team, I think he'll be absolutely fine. Will he get a chance to start? Who knows? They got a pretty good, solid defense in St. Louis, so he may not get that many reps as a starter. Who knows? It still remains to be seen. But back to Tony, He made this comment and everybody is going crazy. Seeming like, they're trying to say that he's a hypocrite, that, his moral stance is inconsistent, all kind of crazy stuff, talking about his little situation where he was advocating Michael Vick. And this is crazy. And I think, just to be completely transparent on this situation, I feel like the Michael Vick and Michael Sam situations are completely different things. Yes, first of all, for people who still on this Michael Vick stuff, y'all need to stop it. Y'all need to let that go, okay? Because, y'all act like he was the only person in the world that was involved in something like that. This has been going on for years, decades, you know what I'm saying? Maybe even centuries. He just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And he wasn't actually the one in there doing it for either way, no matter how you slice it. I'm not going to make no excuses for Michael Vick, but no matter how you slice it, this dude went to prison. He went to jail. 2 years of his life that he's never going to get back for a mistake that he made, right? And so, yeah, he had every right in the world to want to come back and play in the NFL and get a new contract and be successful and all that kind of. He made a mistake. He paid for it. Life goes on. Michael Sam, on the other hand, he makes a lifestyle choice. And, and it's up to us whether or not we want to accept it or not. Now, on the other hand, you got people who are accepting this and they don't have a problem with it. I'm one of those guys. I don't have a problem with it. As long as there's not no crazy stuff going on, I have absolutely no problem with it. Now, the old school, stuffy, prudish, closed-minded folks out there who see that this is going to be, look, first of all, you're the guys who are making this into a media circus. You're the guys who are making this into a really big deal. From where I sit, and this is just my opinion, what I'm saying? You guys can say what you want to say, but this is my opinion. I feel like, because, I have gay friends. I do. I work with gay people, you know what I'm saying? And it's not a big deal. You know what I'm saying? It's not. As long as they're not doing anything to make everybody else uncomfortable, they're just regular people, and I mean, we went through this stuff, years ago with the whole black equality and all this kind of stuff. It makes no sense in this day and time to be still stuck on something like this. I'm actually really, really surprised. Now, if Michael Sam was running around in the locker room butt naked, doing crazy stuff, that's a different story. You know what I mean? But if he just show up and do his job just like every other dude in there doing their job, and if he hadn't never said anything about being gay, would anybody would even be talking about this? You know what I'm saying? Like, the point is, Tony Dungy just said that he didn't want to deal with it. You know what I mean? Like everybody said, well, he pushed for Michael Vick. He pushed for Michael Vick. I mean, yeah, the nonsense that was going on with Michael Vick and these dudes from PETA and all these weirdos showing up at Philadelphia, with picket signs and stuff. That's a different story than negative, public, hate coming toward Michael Sam for his lifestyle choice. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's different. It's a completely different thing. Like, you can deal with yahoos with picket signs, you know what I'm saying? But, when you own the football field and you got homophobes out there, maybe trying to hurt this man or it's going to be a lot of stuff. And just like Tony Dungy said, some stuff going to happen, you know what I'm saying? And there may be some things that are out of Michael Sam's control. Michael Sam, I got to give him all the props in the world for going through with this. You know what I'm saying? So, like, for even going through with this, because, it takes a big set to say, first of all, say you gay and be a football player and then go into this whole hoopla of being drafted into the NFL. And knowing what's going to happen when he get to that level. It take a really, really huge set to do that. And so all Tony was saying is like, listen, no matter what y'all say, no matter how y'all slice it up, no matter, what Michael Sam does, the fact of the matter is this: he came out and said he was gay. And, whether some people claim they accept it or not, when everything get going and the football season started, he in that locker room, and listen, we're going to see what's going to happen here, during the next couple of weeks during training camp. We're going to see what's going to happen, and then everybody going to be looking at Tony Dungy like he was some type of genius. You know what I mean? But it's definitely one of them things where Tony Dungy is spot on with this. Some crazy stuff is definitely going to happen. And, and maybe it's a bad thing for St. Louis. But, let's talk about St. Louis for a minute. These guys knowingly, willingly went into this thing knowing all these consequences. It ain't like these conversations ain't happen. They understand that exactly what Tony Dungy is saying. And if I was Tony Dungy, I wouldn't even respond to this. They talking about that he need to come out and recant his statement and all this kind of stuff. No, he don't, because what he said was absolutely 100% accurate. And I didn't see nothing that was like, disparaging about it. I didn't see nothing that was like, hurtful or hateful about it. I didn't see him, saying nothing that was out of line in his statement. So for, Donovan McNabb, not Donovan McNabb, but the other guy, Whitlock, who was on the soundbite from earlier talking about he needed to recant it. I don't think so. Why? I wouldn't even come on TV even addressing the situation anymore. You guys asked me a question. I gave you an answer. And that was that. I don't understand why I got to be a big deal. And then we look at the, social media. And social media, you guys, y'all are a trip. Y'all guys are crazy. You know what I mean? Has comments like, to not draft an openly gay player because someone might not handle it is some kind of Jim Crow era awful. So it turns out Tony Dungy is a coward. Didn't see that coming. And then other people said, so glad Tony Dungy said what he said. Sorry, he has to get bashed for it, though. You can't obtain tolerance by forcing it on society. And, and I agree with that, man, because, listen, I ain't got nothing against the homosexuals. I ain't got nothing against the gay people. You know what I mean? But it's one of them things where I don't think it's fair to the rest of the world. And this is me being real, okay? You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to my gay homies. I got gay friends. Like I said, I work with gay people every single day. And I know they listen to my show and they follow what we do on Team Boy TV. But this is what I'm saying. I don't feel like it's fair to the rest of the world if, homosexual people are trying to force everyone else to accept. Now, in the same token, let me put this out there too. In the same token, I don't feel like it's absolutely intelligent for everybody else to all of a sudden just, bash and hate homosexual people just because of the fact that they're homosexual. You don't really know what's going on with them. And why is it such a big deal anyway? Whoever sleeps with, it's nobody's business. Nobody cares. I know for me, for one, I don't really care. You know what I mean? If Michael Sam want to kiss dudes and stuff, that's what he want to do. As long as if I was a St. Louis Rams fan, as long as Michael Sam showed up and did what he was supposed to do and was really good at it, I would not have an issue with it whatsoever. It's just society is just so crazy right now, man. And everybody got their own agenda, and you got some people who want to claim that everything that they say is absolutely right and everybody else in the world got to agree with it. Then you got other people who are trying to, force an alternative on everybody else. And maybe people ain't ready for that. Maybe people just ain't really comfortable with it. And I understand every angle of it, but the big thing is, they are pretty much putting Tony Dungy on blast for absolutely nothing. And this dude has built up a reputation of being an awesome, good guy who has his head on straight, who is usually gives it to you straight and raw. He usually doesn't, is not that objective one way or another. Now, I did see a little report where he said something came out a few years back where he was against some gay marriage stuff. I don't really know much about it. If that was the case, that's what he believed. And I mean, maybe gay marriage and maybe they're trying to say that he's a bigot. I'm not absolutely sure. I mean, I don't know Tony Dungy personally, but I've been following this guy for years. He just don't really seem like that type of guy. Now, he is a sort of kind of a religious type of guy. Now, if you don't support gay marriage, you don't support gay marriage. Now, at the same time, when it comes to business, right? When it comes to that shield, and that's what this whole program is about. It's about upholding, respecting, and, adhering to the rules and regulations and the legacy of the NFL shield. That's what this whole program that I'm doing here is about. Now, the question to you guys is this, does Michael Sam's presence, is it kind of degrading the shield in any kind of way? I mean, some people may say, yeah, it is. You know what I mean? Some people may say that it is, but then in the same token, you got other yahoos out here like the Josh Gordons and the Johnny Manziels and the Justin Blackmans and and the Greg Hardys of the world who are here doing crazy stuff too. You know what I mean? So which one is worse? Which one is doing more harm to the shield? Those guys that are failing drug tests or showing up to camp and failing conditioning tests, or getting busted in DUI and drug situations, or a gay dude that just want to play football. Those are the questions that I got for you guys. Those are the things that I feel like we need to sit back as fans and analyze and kind of think about it. And what if you're in that position? What if you happen to be in that position? You know what I mean? And why all this attention is drawn to somebody like Michael Sam and Tony Dungy, two dudes who I feel like shouldn't even be caught up in this kind of controversy. You know what I mean? Tony Dungy is an ex-coach, right? So, and people value his opinion. So that's the reason why they asked him a question. Hey, if that was you, what would you have done? He gave him a straight up, honest answer. I don't think it was a degrading answer at all. I don't think it was negative in any kind of way. I think he was absolutely spot on. I think he was right about the whole entire thing. And he is getting crucified for it. And it makes absolutely no sense to me. I don't get it. You know what I mean? And, you know, at the end of the day, if it's really about the legacy of the Shield, if that's what it's about, I thought the NFL was about equality and that kind of thing for everybody. You know, why we're so busy trying to sell the NFL overseas and stuff, we ain't even trying to take care of the people here at home. You know what I'm saying? The ones here at home, we so busy trying to sell the NFL on a global scale, but we want to exclude people that are helping build the brand. That kind of stuff can't fly. And that's why, you know, this whole expansion to be a global market for the NFL, as long as you guys have closed minds like this, it'll never happen. You guys are stunting the growth of the NFL by being so ignorant to stuff like this. And yeah, I'm gonna say it, you know, and you can, you know, and you guys can send me emails. You can leave negative comments. You can, you know, press dislike if you want to. I'm just keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it 100% real. And you guys need to chill out with that stuff, because listen, none of this stuff has anything to do with football. You know, at the end of the day, this is what we tune in for. This is what we pay attention to. This is what we follow. We follow the game. You okay? And this ain't got nothing to do with the game, you know? And whatever happens with Michael Sam, I say more power to him. You know what I'm saying? At least he gave it a shot. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he is completely against the wall. Nobody's giving him a chance in this situation. And it seems like a majority of people want to see him fail. They want to get rid of him, and they want to get him completely out of the NFL. And I've seen this happen before. I've seen this happen with Tim Tebow, and, you know, and I've seen it happen with, you know, Chad Johnson. And, you know, and if they don't want you around, you won't be around. That's just the way it is. If the powers that be who uphold the Shield don't want you around, no matter what you do, you're not going to be around. And that's just the bottom line. And that's just the way I feel about it, you know. And for the most part, I think, you know, at the end of the day, if it's about, you know, again, if it's about the legacy of the Shield, man, everybody's opinion should matter, right? And, you know, and if people who get upset about certain things, like maybe this ain't the place for you to be. Maybe you shouldn't be hanging around with NFL people or following NFL media, because the NFL is not like the social media, you know, Housewives of Atlanta crap. We don't do that around here in the NFL. Like that's nonsense. You know, it's about respect. We respect one another, and that's one of the things. You watch the old football movies and stuff. It's always about the same thing. Remember the Titans, Any Given Sunday. It's all about coming together as a group, as a unit. You know, no matter where you come from, no matter what your lifestyle choice, no matter, you know, how you were raised or where you came from. At the end of the day, it's all about camaraderie, unity, and being a team. That's what the Shield is about. That's what the NFL represents. And to start singling people out, you know, because of this and that and the third, it goes completely against everything that the NFL stands for. And that's my opinion. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I feel about it, you know? So I don't care what Donovan McNabb said. I don't care what, you know, my man, was Terrence Whitlock? I forget what his name was. I don't care what he said. And Keith Olbermann and Mike and Mike, you know, I'm a big fan of Mike and Mike. I'm a big fan of Mike and Mike. I love their show. But that stuff that they did this morning on the Mike and Mike show, talking about Tony Dungy, made me hate them, you know, and Vernie was tweeting them, you know, and all this kind of stuff. You know, it don't make no sense to be that ignorant. You know, it don't make no sense to be. And, you know, and it's funny because Tony Dungy is supposed to be a close personal friend of theirs, but at the same time, they're sitting there trying to sensationalize the story. I don't know what's wrong with you people. I really don't know what's wrong with you people, man. You know, maybe the offseason was just, maybe it's too long. See, maybe this was a bad idea, Roger Goodell, you know, trying to stretch the NFL offseason out the way you did. You know, you wouldn't have to go back to doing like every other sport do, man. Once the season is over, you need to shut it down, keep everything closed doors. No need to be going through all this stuff and putting every single thing that every single team does on blast all throughout the offseason. It just, you know, it's too much. And we see it right now that people can't handle this. You know, this has been the most tumultuous offseason I can remember in my whole entire life. It's more stuff than happened in this offseason than I can remember happening over the last 5 or 10 years. It's been a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? And you know, and it's just too much. It is way too much. Now I'm thinking that I was excited about, you know, having, you know, NFL all year round. It was awesome to think about it. But now at this point, now that we're trying to almost completely through this offseason, I mean, with like less than 7 weeks to go before the start of the regular season, I mean, it's too much. We can't do this, man, because obviously, clearly, you know, we're not intelligent enough to be able to handle having this much exposure to the NFL all season. I mean, all year round. We're not ready for that, and as a community and as a culture, we're going to have to step up, man. You know what I'm saying? If this is what we're trying to strive for, we're going to have to smarten up, because this right here is ridiculous. And, even going back to the Pam Oliver thing, it is way too much. These things are just ridiculous. Now, if they had been the old school way, if they had just handled this thing and had not said nothing, the season started, Erin Andrews shows up, nobody knew what was going on, it would have been a different story. But now, since everything is so, the information is so freely, able to be acquired, we know everything, and we know everything right when it's happening, and it's too much to kind of digest, and I think that's the reason why people, they don't really, first of all, the news outlets don't really have much to talk about, so that's why they're making this Tony Dungy deal into a really, really, really big thing, and it's really not, and again, if I was Tony Dungy, I would not even come on TV or anywhere, even in addressing the situation, because I don't feel like it's worth it. I don't feel like he owes anybody anything about his statement. He don't owe no apology to Michael Sam. He don't owe no apology to Sam Fisher or the St. Louis Rams. He don't owe an apology to nobody. You know what I mean? He really doesn't. Now, with all that being said, I want to thank you guys for checking out my debut episode of Team Boy TV's The Shield podcast. And like I said, this one is, I usually have a lot of fun on the Black and Blue podcast and on some of the other things that we're doing. I laugh a lot. This show, I want to take things a little bit more seriously because some things need to be said and that a lot of people are just not saying, and again, I want to thank you guys for checking it out and that kind of thing. So, listen, if you're checking it out on Spreaker, man, go ahead and follow, you know what I mean? Give it a like. I like that. It's pretty cool. If you're checking it out on iTunes, man, go ahead and like it. Leave a comment. If you're seeing it on YouTube, man, leave a comment and that kind of thing. And as always, you guys can follow me on Twitter at TeamBoydTV. So, look, we can talk about it. The discussion can continue. We can keep on talking about it. It's cool. I will talk about these kind of things at any time. And don't forget to join us on Wednesday nights for Team Boy TV Live. This week we are doing the NFC West, which should prove to be a very, very interesting conversation and that kind of thing. And then starting up in about a month, we have Team Boy TV Game Time with myself and the beautiful Vernie B will be returning, and that kind of thing. We also have the Black and Blue podcast, which we're returning in about 3 weeks, as soon as the first preseason game comes up on the schedule. So listen, again, I'm your boy Big Q for Team Boy TV Turbo. Go over to YouTube, check us out, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it, and it's all good. And I will see y'all next time. I think next time we will get it, because Josh Gordon and Johnny Manziel, these stories came up, and I had to kind of push y'all to the back burner. I'm gonna get y'all. That situation ain't over yet. The Washington situation, I haven't really gave my full entire take on that yet. I will be revisiting that maybe next week. We'll see, and that kind of thing. So until next time, man, I'm your boy Big Q, and this is Team Boy TV's The Shield, and I'll see y'all next week. Peace.